I saw a billboard in Pattaya that stopped me dead. Not a beach resort ad, not a massage parlor, a full-service life center, and I mean full service. Top of the list, elderly care, physical therapy. Fine, normal stuff. But my eyes kept sliding down. Stroke nursing, bedridden patient care, palliative care, and right at the bottom, same calm font as everything above it, funeral ceremony. Nobody puts that in the brochure. Every retirement video about Thailand shows you the same three things: cheap beer, warm ocean, a bungalow for $300 a month. Nobody shows you what happens when your body finally quits in a country where you can't ask a nurse for a glass of water. So here's the trap. It's quiet, it's patient, and it wrecks people every single day. The guys who actually make it to their final decade in Thailand in one piece. They didn't get lucky. They built a system. And that's what this video is. It starts small. Knees go first. Then your international insurance suddenly finds a pre-existing condition and denies the claim right when you need it most. So you pay cash for the surgery. Boom. Savings gone. And the second that account hits zero, the whole social circle you thought you built, gone with it. You didn't lose your friends. You just got old and broke at the same time. And turns out those two things don't mix well out here. I started digging into this because a guy I used to talk to online, American, 70s, living in Pattaya, just went quiet one day. No goodbye post, no explanation. Just gone. Started asking around the expat forums about what actually happens to guys like him. Turns out most retirees have zero idea what they signed up for. Here's the twist. The exact strategy that makes Thailand affordable is the same strategy that eventually traps you. Everyone chases cheap rent. Moves out to the provinces, Izayan, the deep suburbs, wherever the baht stretches furthest. In your 60s, that feels genius. You ride your own scooter, run your own errands, life's effortless, but biology doesn't care about your spreadsheet. Hit 80, and that scooter ride is basically a coin flip with a hospital bed. Now, you're physically wrecked and geographically stranded from anyone who could actually help you. And here's the part people don't want to admit. A lot of guys don't move to Thailand because life there is better. They move because life back home fell apart. Same story every time. Cost of living crushed them, ugly divorce, lost the job, family blew up. So they book the one-way flight thinking Pattaya is going to fix what's actually a personal problem sitting in their own head. Psychologists have a name for it. The geographical cure, the delusion that a new zip code fixes an old wound. Spoiler, it doesn't. And loneliness out here doesn't wait politely, it kills. So what's the move? Most guys try to buy the cure. Find a Thai wife, figure they've locked in a permanent safety net. That purchased companionship becomes your biggest liability the second your mind starts going. Picture it. You're 78. One morning the words stop coming out right. Few months later, a doctor hands you the diagnosis that ends independent living for good. Early stage dementia. And that's exactly when the exploitation window opens. Cards vanish from the wallet, signatures get forged smooth as anything. You get drained dry before a bank or a court even notices. It's not that people out here are evil, it's that the entire support structure holding up your final years was never built on anything except cash. No blood tie, no legal obligation, nobody required to step in when the money stops. Thailand built an entire industry around the Western retirement fantasy. First 10, 15 years. Incredible. Warm weather, cheap living, real friendships if you actually build them. But none of that infrastructure exists for phase 2. The phase where you can't drive, can't remember your address, can't manage your own bank account. That phase needs legal protection, proximity to people who actually care, and a healthcare system that treats you before it checks your passport. Nobody plans for phase 2 because phase 1 feels so good they assume it just lasts. I'm not telling you not to do this. I've met guys with real lives here, real friendships, better support than they ever had back home. What I'm telling you is, retire here without a legal guardian lined up, without power of attorney a Thai court will actually honor, without a support system that doesn't depend on a monthly transfer, and you're gambling with the exact years of your life when you'll have zero ability to fix a mistake. That billboard in Pattaya isn't for the healthy 65-year-old nursing a chang on the beach. It's for the version of you 15 years down the line. Frail, isolated, stuck in a legal system that was never built with you in mind. And that's just the stuff people are willing to think about. What about the bills? What happens when the hospital won't discharge you until you pay? When your visa quietly expires while you're flat on your back, unable to do anything about it. You're elderly, you're overseas, and something goes wrong. Stroke, fall, heart attack at 3 a.m. What actually happens? By Thai law, a public hospital can't turn you away in a genuine emergency. Doesn't matter what passport you're holding. Doesn't matter if your wallet's empty. They stabilize you. That part's real, and honestly, more than most people expect. But that protection has an expiry date. Second you're stable, the math flips completely. Ongoing treatment, surgery, life support, none of that's covered by the emergency mandate. The hospital wants a deposit or proof of insurance before they lift another finger, can't produce either. You get billed at the foreigner rate, well above what a Thai national on the local health card pays, because you were never in that system to begin with. Here's a number that should stop you cold. Thailand's own health ministry once estimated unpaid medical bills from foreigners were costing the state around 450 million baht a year, roughly 15 million US. And that number's old. Nobody thinks it went down. So what happens when you can't pay? Once you're stable enough to discharge, and stable here can just mean permanently disabled instead of dead, the hospital wants its money. Private and public facilities both. There's a widely reported practice where a patient's passport gets held until the bill's settled. Hospitals deny it when a journalist asks directly. Expats who've lived through it tell a completely different story, over and over, in enough detail across forums and Facebook groups that it's hard to write off as rumor. And the debt doesn't vanish if you manage to leave without paying. Thailand's been building out what they call claim centers, government offices built specifically to chase down foreigners who left owing money. Concentrated in the big tourist provinces like Pattaya and Phuket, hospitals in those regions are now training staff in debt collection, because treating a foreigner isn't charity work anymore. It's a financial gamble the hospital takes on every single admission. If your backup plan is "I'll call my embassy," stop right there. Embassies do not pay medical bills. Not private, not public, not ever. When Thai hospitals contact embassies chasing unpaid bills, and they do this constantly, the answer is basically always the same. No budget, no authority, no help. A consular officer's job here is limited to trying to track down next of kin. And if you're the isolated retiree we're talking about, there might not be any left to find. There's one narrow exception, and it comes with a catch almost nobody researches in advance. The US State Department can issue a repatriation loan, a strict last resort loan covering a one-way ticket home, if you're proven destitute. But it's not free money. You sign a promissory note, interest, penalties if you're late, and your passport gets restricted the moment they issue it, just to make sure you actually get on the plane. So picture it, hospitals holding your passport over a medical bill, embassies willing to loan you flight money, but only if it takes control of your passport too. You're literally property changing hands between institutions, and neither one actually cares what happens to you as a person. People think the worst part of losing your mind is forgetting who you are. Wrong. The worst part is losing your mind somewhere nobody understands the only words you've got left. I noticed this outside a private care facility near Pattaya. Elderly Western guy in a wheelchair, staring at a wall, while two Thai nurses chatted right over his head. Completely cut off. Turns out that's a documented thing. Neurologists call it Ribot's Law. Cognitive decline destroys recent memories first and keeps your oldest ones the longest. First in, last out. So you move to Thailand in your 60s, pick up enough Thai to order food, joke with the neighbors, talk to your partner. The second dementia starts eating brain tissue. That second language is the first thing wiped from the drive. You regress completely to your mother tongue. Now imagine it. You're 80, lying in a provincial hospital bed, in real physical pain. And you can't remember a single word of Thai anymore. You're speaking English, and as it gets worse, you're speaking the specific regional slang of wherever you grew up. The nurses don't understand a word. They think you're babbling. You can't say your chest hurts. You can't ask for water. You can't tell them the meds are making you sick. You're trapped inside your own skull, surrounded by people who can't decode a single word of your suffering. And that's just the medical side. Terrifying, sure. The financial side is what actually finishes you off. Most expats think they're safe because the money's automated. Pension, social security, private retirement fund, direct deposit hitting the account on the first of the month like clockwork. They build their entire survival plan around that assumption. Dead wrong. Governments and banks don't trust old men living in developing countries. Pension fraud is a massive global industry, so they require what's called proof of life to stop it. Now stack that bureaucratic hurdle on top of a medical emergency. Severe stroke. You're in the ICU. Can't hold a pen, can't work a phone menu, can't get to an embassy to notarize anything. Your proof of life deadline comes and goes. Somewhere back in Washington or London, an algorithm flags the account. The computer assumes you're dead, pension frozen, instantly. Nobody stole the money. It's just locked in a bureaucratic vault a bedridden man can't reach. And that sets off a chain reaction. Hospital billing runs your card, declined. Your Thai partner tries to pull cash for your meds. Machine eats the card. This is the exact moment the illusion cracks. That purchased companionship you were counting on as real connection turns out to be exactly what it always was, an economic transaction. It only works while the ATM keeps paying out. Pension freezes, and overnight you go from provider to liability. You're now a paralyzed, non-communicative foreigner with zero income, sitting in one of the most expensive beds in the building. Your partner can't cover your bills, your special diet, your adult diapers. Faced with unpaid caregiving for a man who's legally broke, a shocking number of them just vanish. New number, new town, gone. You can't even really blame them. They didn't sign up for unpaid hospice work. So now you're alone, broke, and you can't speak, and the hospital still wants its money. Private hospitals in Thailand are businesses, shareholders, not charities. Once your account runs dry, they'll stabilize you, park you in a corner, and start making calls. Which brings us to the darkest part. What happens to the body, die destitute in a Thai hospital, and a grim bureaucratic clock starts ticking? Hospital moves you to the morgue, notifies police, police notify the embassy, embassy tries once more to reach family back home. The consular officer will explain that repatriating a body from Asia to the West is complicated and expensive. International aviation law requires the remains be embalmed and sealed in a specialized zinc-lined flight coffin. Paperwork, embalming, coffin. Cargo flight. Total usually runs 7 to 12 grand. Most estranged families won't pay a cent. Tell the embassy to sort it locally. So option 2, local cremation, still 1 to 2 grand for mortuary fees, temple services, the death certificate. Family says no again, embassy issues a consular report of death abroad, closes the file, done. Your body is now officially abandoned property. Thai morgues have hard capacity limits. Can't refrigerate unclaimed remains forever. Power bills too high. Space needed for the next arrival. Usually after 30 to 90 days, hospital administrators sign a release and hand you to a local charity foundation. Groups like the Ruam Katanu Foundation handle the unclaimed dead. Volunteer rescue crews who clean up traffic accidents and unclaimed corpses to stop disease outbreaks. They drive a pickup to the morgue, load you in the back. No funeral, no monks chanting over a wooden casket. You go to a provincial cemetery reserved for the poor and the unidentified. Sometimes, if the temple's got the funds, mass cremation, dozens of unclaimed bodies at once to save on fuel. Otherwise, mass grave, wrapped in plastic, tagged with a number, buried alongside indigent locals and unidentified migrants. Your grand tropical retirement ends in an unmarked plot full of weeds, and it happens so often the rescue crews don't even blink picking up a Westerner from the morgue anymore. Just another Tuesday. Here's the fundamental mistake. Guys confuse a cheap cost of living with an actual safety net. Two completely different things. A cheap bowl of noodles doesn't protect you when your brain stops producing language. Low rent doesn't stop a bank freezing your account. A purchased relationship doesn't guarantee a caretaker once you lose control of your own body. Thailand's infrastructure is incredible if you're healthy and holding cash. It's an absolute meat grinder if you're sick and broke. Most people won't look at this because it forces them to face their own mortality. They'd rather believe they'll pass away peacefully at 90, listening to the waves. Nobody wants to think about the zinc coffin, the frozen pension, the language regression. Nobody wants to admit that a life built entirely on transactional relationships is a massive gamble. No power of attorney that's legally binding where you actually live. You're gambling. No prepaid plan for your own remains. You're forcing strangers to clean up after you. You can absolutely live a great life in Thailand. Loads of people do. But you have to plan for the day the music stops. So here's a direct question. Wake up tomorrow in a Thai hospital bed, can't speak, bank account frozen. Who actually shows up? Most guys can't answer that. If you actually want to survive this, here's exactly how you fix it. Because if you don't prepare for this phase of life, you're choosing the mass grave by default. It's that simple. There's a real blueprint for surviving your final decade in Thailand, but nobody talks about it because it's ugly, bureaucratic, and it means spending money today for a disaster that might not hit for 10 years. First thing you need to accept, your home country paperwork is worthless the moment you land. Guys proudly wave around a power of attorney drawn up by a lawyer in Ohio or London and think they're covered. Dead wrong. Unconscious in a Chiang Mai hospital, local doctors and judges don't care about your foreign paperwork. Legally meaningless to them. You need a localized power of attorney, drafted in Thai, notarized locally, registered with the district office. And you grant that authority to a trusted local entity, not your 25-year-old girlfriend, an actual registered licensed Thai law firm on retainer. They become your legal proxy. When the hospital tries to seize your passport or dump you on the street, the law firm steps in. And Thai lawyers on retainer are dirt cheap compared to what you'd pay back home. Costs money to set up, sure. But an ironclad local proxy is the only thing standing between you and getting cleaned out. Then there's the pension trap. Miss a proof of life check, algorithm freezes your money. You need a bureaucratic dead man switch. Don't rely on your partner holding your ATM pin. Register a designated representative with your embassy now while your brain still works. The US, for example, has specific protocols for incapacitated citizens. Lose cognitive function, your registered proxy is legally authorized to deal with the federal government on your behalf, keeps the money moving. Restructure your banking too. Pension should deposit into an account that automatically routes funds to a local escrow or straight to a licensed care facility. Never leave one big pile of liquid cash sitting behind a single debit card. That's just an invitation to get robbed the moment your mind slips. Take the temptation off the table entirely by running care payments through a third-party legal trust. And here's the upside nobody mentions. If your local partner knows they can't touch the principal, the ones who stick around are the ones who actually give a damn about you. Still leaves the biggest threat on the table, getting held hostage by a hospital bill. You already know they'll lock you in if you can't pay. Only way out is prepaying your own disaster. Most guys think they've got two options, but past a certain age, you've really only got one. Option 1, a localized inpatient policy with guaranteed direct billing for critical care. Here's the ruthless part nobody mentions. Almost no insurer in Thailand will write a new comprehensive policy once you cross 65, sometimes 70. Age past that window, and option 1 is gone. Permanently. That leaves option 2. Lock away 50 grand in a dedicated emergency medical account nobody can touch except your retained legal proxy. Don't tell your friends. Don't tell your partner. This is your untouchable survival fund. And here's a move most people miss entirely. You can bypass the hostage situation completely by turning the hospital into your own medical escrow. Walk into a major private facility in Bangkok while you're perfectly healthy, register for a patient number, wire 50 grand directly to their billing department as an advance deposit. Sign the release forms while your brain's still functioning. Stroke hits, you're wheeled in unconscious, the financial negotiation's already over. They scan your ID, see the credit sitting on file, treat you immediately. And that leaves the hardest part. Sort your own remains in advance or you end up in that concrete trench. Here's the brutal truth. That medical escrow buys you world-class survival. It does not buy you immortality. Whether it's that specific stroke or your body just giving out a decade later, the outcome's the same. You have to buy your own cremation before you die. Completely legal, completely doable right now. Go to a temple in Thailand, speak to the abbot, make a direct financial donation. Document your exact wishes with your law firm, name that temple as the recipient of your remains. Pay for mortuary transport, monks, cremation, all up front. Costs a fraction of what emergency repatriation runs. And more importantly, it takes the entire burden off the embassy, the police, and whatever family you've got left. When you go, your legal proxy just executes the contract. Rescue workers know exactly where to take you. Dignified exit instead of becoming abandoned medical waste. People call this pessimistic. I call it bulletproof. This entire overseas lifestyle runs on a dangerous illusion that a ridiculously low cost of living somehow equals a high quality of death. It doesn't. The ultimate freedom of moving to Thailand comes with a hidden tax, extreme personal responsibility. Back home you had an invisible net, paramedics, social workers, state-funded nursing homes, public legal advocates. Slow, deeply flawed, but it exists. Out here you're completely exposed. There is no net. You build one yourself, wire by wire, with your own cash and your own legal foresight. The guys who end up destitute in a provincial morgue aren't bad people. They're just wildly naive. They thought the tropical party would never end. Bought the dream, skipped the exit strategy. You don't have to be one of them. You can live an incredible life out here. Cheap beer, warm ocean every morning, real happiness 10,000 miles from where you started. You just have to be completely ruthless about protecting your future self. The frail 80-year-old version of you who can't speak the language and can't remember his own name, he's entirely dependent on the healthy version of you signing the right papers today. Don't betray him. So look at your own setup right now. Bank accounts, visa status, the people actually in your living room. Stroke hits tonight. Are you covered? Or are you just hoping for the best? Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.